Okay, hello everybody. Today I am talking about menopause. Woo! When your body goes through these changes and you have no idea, the next morning you wake up, you're like, what just happened? That happened to me too. So what happens is the estrogen changes. It goes from estradiol to estrone. So when we switch over from estradiol to estrone, the big difference here is that estrone is produced in your fat tissue or adipose tissue and the adrenals. And estradiol is produced in the ovaries. So once your ovaries stop doing the reproductive thing, what happens is the reason we're more sensitive is because estrogen that you flipped over to, which is estrone, is now being produced in fat cells, adipose tissue, and in the adrenals. So this is why we're more sensitive. This is why we want to not tax the adrenals when we're going through menopause. And estradiol is more of our nurturing hormone, and that's why we kind of make this switch when we go to estrone to all of a sudden we want to do all these things for ourselves. If we haven't really taken the time to prioritize our own self-care over the years, it's going to be pretty challenging. So it also is something that helps in your creativity. You want to create more. You want to do things that you put off for a long time or that you have always dreamt about doing. This is the time where you start to get those desires come in about those things again, and it really does spark your creativity. So there's some really good things about it. But the things that are not so great all the time that we experience are the body changes. And some of my clients who are going through perimenopause and menopause have asked me this question: what do I do now that my body has changed basically overnight? I feel completely different. So where do we go from here? And again, you don't want to over-identify with it because it's a phase in your life. It's just a phase that we go through as women. It's our next phase of life. It's a kind of a rite of passage into the next phase of life. There's a really great book called Making Sense of Menopause by, I think, Susan Wilson. She has really written a great book about all the aspects of menopause. And what really stuck with me in her book was the thing about revisiting your emotional wellness within this journey. The summer of 2023 is when menopause really started hitting me, and I was going through major hot flashes, very uncomfortable. I was having a hard time sleeping, and I'm a person that takes care of herself. I really put my health, my well-being, my self-care in the forefront of my life. It's a big priority for me. So I was having a hard time with this too. And so it happens to everybody. It doesn't matter really what you're doing. But what I'm getting at here is it really pushes you to revisit any unresolved emotional stuff that you have just kind of brushed under the rug over the years, or some things you haven't thought about for years, especially as we were developing as women. And so those are things to consider. Her book goes into how important that is to really, not revisit the past so much, but resolve some of the feelings and some of the emotions that we suppressed over the years as we developed into women. And if you've had kids, same thing. You go through things, you just keep going because you're busy, and you're busy taking care of your kids. You have a family. You may be working too. So we haven't really taken the time to be with those feelings, to be with those emotions in order to resolve them and really neutralize them in a way so that they're not hanging out in our subconscious and running the show. So that's a really important part of menopause. I wanted to start there because I feel like that's a big deal. And it's not as much talked about. Mostly what's talked about is the physiological changes and what we can do to support the body as it changes. And I think that's really important too. And I'm going to talk about that as well. But I think that what's not talked about a lot is the emotional rite of passage that you're going through, because you're really not taking any of the old emotional baggage into this next phase of life. And you'll find that some women have a harder time with menopause when they're doing this, when they're hanging on to the past and they're not resolving those old feelings and those old emotions, and they're still suppressing them. So keep that in mind as well. That's really important. And that's what I help my group in the Finally Thriving program with. We go through this. We find what's blocking us there with our emotions, and we really take time to be present with them so that they can move through and we can release that, so we can open ourselves up to so much more. So now I'm going to get into some of the physical aspects here. And one thing I did notice right away is I gained weight in my belly, just in my belly. That's it. Just right in the belly. I gained probably another 15 pounds when I hit menopause. And it felt like it happened pretty much overnight. My hormones just switched over. And it was kind of crazy because so for me, that's what happened. And I got the hot flashes. I was having a hard time sleeping. I don't usually have a hard time sleeping. So this was definitely something that was different for me. And so what I did was I started to create space in my life so that I could integrate the emotional stuff, but also so that I could just take better care of my body. I stepped into my self-care even more deeply, and I had to. And I think this is really important because what this time also gives you an opportunity to prioritize yourself. So if you haven't been doing that, then this is something that's making you pay attention. Menopause is making you pay attention to putting yourself first, maybe for the first time in your life. Because when we were younger, we might have learned, and many of my students learned that, and this is me too. I learned when I was young that I needed to put other people's needs in front of mine. And over the years, I've learned that actually I need to meet my own needs first. That creates self-responsibility. And it also doesn't burden other people to take care of me. I'm taking care of myself. And we can also get support. I'm not saying not get support. We can get support from other people too, but this is more taking responsibility for your own needs first, okay? Many of us want to run out and take care of everybody else's needs first, but really you need to take care of your needs first. That's what's going to help you in this phase of life as well. So really taking the time to create space in your day, not overscheduling yourself, giving yourself time to rest. Really, it's all about recovery because you're much more sensitive during this time. Your body's more sensitive to things that you may have been more resilient to before. So, for example, working out, you may have been able to handle a really hard workout that just completely depleted you and recover pretty quickly. But now you may be experiencing that you have to recover for a week after one day of working out that hard, or you're gaining weight because you're doing that. And what I'm learning is that because you're more hormonally sensitive to stress, really working less but smarter in a way is better for you. So not overdoing the cardio, taking more long walks, maybe a walk every day. And weightlifting, it could be a 20-minute weightlifting workout, 2 sets instead of 3 sets, and maybe not going as heavy as you would. Also, just doing a workout out of joy, like really enjoying it. That makes a difference too. So we want to make sure that we're not overdoing it in the gym. We're not overdoing it in our life. We're not too busy in our life. We're not adding a lot more chaos and stress to our emotional wellness either. We're regulating our emotions well. We're being emotionally honest with ourselves and other people. That's really important too, to not suppress your emotions, not suppress your feelings. And you can be emotionally honest and be respectful to other people too. It's definitely possible. It is still possible to build muscle when you're going through menopause as well and beyond. It's just that you have to do it a little bit differently because, again, your body is more sensitive to stress than it ever has been. And with eating too, I've noticed that I was much more sensitive to carbs. So again, the hormones switch over to from estradiol to estrone. You're going to be more carb sensitive. So what that means is you're not going to be able to eat the same way you did before. You're not going to be able to eat the same amount of carbohydrates. You're going to have to up the protein, the animal protein, which is very important for recovery. It's important for building the structure of our body. What I found for me personally was getting a good amount of protein first thing in the morning really set the tone for my day. It felt really grounding, and it helped me throughout the day feel very satiated. So I'd have a good grounding breakfast with like some eggs and some breakfast meat, and that felt really good for me to ground me throughout my day, and so that I didn't have to eat till lunch. And then I could have some carbs, some healthy carbs. Like, I say healthy carbs, meaning fruit, root vegetables, and tubers and squash, those kinds of things. Those are the best kind of carbohydrates. You can have breads and pastas too, but you want to go lower on those as well, because you'll notice the carbs will create some weight gain if you go overboard with that too, because it is going to, your blood sugar is just going to be more sensitive during this time. One of the recommendations that I read was 130 grams of protein a day. And usually I think the recommended amount for women is 44 grams. I think that's the minimal. Upping it to 130 is ideal for women going through menopause. Detoxification is very important too. The easiest way to detoxify yourself is to start eating clean food, eat organic food, or if you can't afford organic, go to the farmer's market and find some food there. Plant some food in your garden. That might take a little longer, but start to get into that mindset of, what's more natural? What can I buy that's more natural? If I have to read a label that has a ton of stuff on it, I probably don't want to eat that because it's got too many chemicals that they put in for shelf life so that it doesn't go bad. So we don't want to be putting that in our bodies. And if you're doing that, you are actually adding more toxicity to the body, just straight up, that's how it goes. Also, body products, makeup and those kinds of things. How toxic are those? Your shampoo, all of those things. Just look at it and see what are the things that you have there that you could let go of that could be more toxic, or replace them for something that's less toxic, Just start to fine tune that for yourself. And if you're eating protein, make sure it's clean protein. Grass-fed beef doesn't have any antibiotics or hormones in it. Eugene Trufkin has a great book that you can get on Amazon, Anti-Factory Farming Guide. Eugene Trufkin, his book is great to take to the store so that you have a guideline on what to buy, what is clean, what is not clean. Obviously, if we are buying something that's processed, heavily processed, everything's, majority is chemicals, nothing natural in it, that's probably not going to be good for you to eat. And then look at your makeup and your creams, your lotions, all of these things that we put on our body as well. That's a really great way to just straight up detoxify without having to try that hard. You're just taking things away. What I love to do is create circulation in the body. So we want to do sauna. We want to do a light cardio workout. Walking is great, but I like to sweat sometimes too. So I'll do like 20 to 30 minute cardio workout, just depending on what my energy level is like. So if I'm more tired, I probably won't do a cardio workout, but maybe I'm at a moderate place. I'm feeling moderate right now. I'm not feeling like my energy is super high or super low, somewhere in between. I'll do about 20 minutes just to get a good sweat going, because I want to get those toxins out of the body. And then you drink a lot of water, right? You drink some high quality water. I have a water restructure little device that creates a funnel in the water. And what it does is it reoxygenates the water. So it makes your body really want that water and absorb it so much better as opposed to drinking tap water. So at the very least, make sure you're filtering your water. There's lots of really inexpensive water filters out there too. I use the Zen water system as well. So you can check those out. So those are great ways to just naturally detoxify the body, which is super important during this time too. So we're detoxing from an energetic level, and we're also detoxing from a physical level here. So we're letting go of old baggage, old emotions, old stories, old programs that we picked up along the way, as well as we're letting all that go on a physical level in the body and clearing that out. So this is a super important time to connect with that part of yourself, to open yourself up to what could be possible What is your pure potential? What's new? What are the new things that are ahead of you on this path of menopause? It's taking you somewhere. It's taking you to the next phase of your life. I always thought, 50 years, I've got 50 years to learn something completely new. So I just started learning how to play music. Never have played the ukulele before, but I've been doing it for about a year now, and I've been learning how to do it. I've been learning how to sing too. And I thought, hey, I got 50 years to do this. Maybe not 50 years, but somewhere around that time, right? So what could you do? What's something new that you have never tried before that you could try now? That is a great way to do it too. Just think about that and see what you'd like to try and just do it. Stop putting yourself off. Stop putting yourself on the back burner. And make yourself a priority. That is going to be the number one thing that you can do during this time. I have been able to get myself back in balance just by making some small changes. Like I said, the breakfast, making sure that it's more protein heavy, and then, drinking lots of water. I've upped my water intake as well. I make sure I'm getting good minerals in the water. You can use some lemon or lime in there. It just takes paying attention to your self-care even more right now because it's so important. We want to really step even deeper into caring for ourselves, and that's going to teach you how to love yourself ultimately, right? It's going to teach you how to honor yourself. So it's really a good time it's really a beautiful time to be living. You got the whole next half of your life to also do things that you maybe couldn't do before. You get to get creative. You get to get curious about your life. You get to do things like maybe that art project that you put off for so long, or maybe you want to learn how to paint, or you wanted to write a book, or whatever it was. Now you get to do it. That's an exciting thing. So I wanted to share that message with you today, and I hope this helps. If you want to join my Finally Thriving program, I'm offering it this August 8th, 2024. These are the things we talk about, and we talk about our spiritual wellness as well. We go through a personal growth process together, personal transformation together, and we bridge the gap between our physical wellness and our energetic wellness, which is our spiritual wellness. So if you want to learn more about that, you can join the group, or you can pick up a copy of my book, Finally Thriving. You can find it on Amazon, and I also have an audiobook too. So thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will talk to you again real soon. Much love.